couple years ago, in an interview, Bo Jackson was asked whether he thought people could be successful, whether athletes could be successful in the same manner that he was. He was a two-sport athlete. He was a stud. He dominated football and baseball at the professional level. And so he was asked, and he bluntly said, and was very humble in his response that, 99.9% of all athletes that attempted to do that would ride the bench, meaning that because things are so specialized, so focused, the talent and the gene pool is becoming so hyper competitive within sports that it was quite unlikely that somebody could be successful at that level in two sports, and that they would indeed need to focus and specialize. And
if I were 21, 22 years old, I think I can compete on that level, but 99.99% of the kids can't. And I'm not. And the reason that I'm saying that is because the gene pool, the talent pool is so deep. And it would be hard to cut the mustard in both sports now, especially on the professional level. You are trying to cut the mustard at both sports. You're ending up being second string in both sports.
And so it got me thinking about commercial real estate and whether that same rule applied. And coming from a smaller market to now Dallas-Fort Worth, I've made some observations, and one of those is when I was in a smaller market, I would see the larger national brands that had hyper-specialized, hyper-focused teams, and they would cherry pick any of the decent deals that were in my smaller market. And so, for example, I had a 32,000 square foot medical office building that I leased the half the building, and I actually knew the owner and developer, and gave me a shot at the listing. When it came time to sell the building, didn't win the assignment. And when I saw their resume and track record, this team had sold 25 of roughly the same size building within the last 18 months. It was a no-brainer. If that was my building, I would have picked that team as well. And so what I've witnessed up here so far in Dallas-Fort Worth is you have more specialization, so you don't see resi-commercial people running around that often. Definitely not at the more sophisticated levels. But the thing I'm noticing is that you have people that are getting even hyper-focused. So they're not just industrial brokers. They do cold storage and only cold storage, but they do it nationally. Or you have brokers that do nothing but 3PL, and they do it nationally. They don't do it in one sub-market. And so I'm wondering what you're seeing out there. What you think? Do you think that commercial real estate is much like sports, and is Bo Jackson correct? Are we getting into a more hyper-specialized, hyper-focused market? And then that's what you need to be successful. If you try and do multiple asset classes, will you end up riding the bench of sorts? I tend to agree with Bo Jackson, definitely when it comes to sports, and I do see how it applies to commercial real estate. I do see how those that have become hyper-focused, hyper-specialized are really dominating their industry and being quite successful. And I do think, in many ways, that's the way to be successful in brokerage from here on out. Let me know what your thoughts are. Thank you.